Governor, I guess, big claim of the Obama administration has been that his saving and rescuing the automobile industry is one of the key reasons that Ohio is doing better. I saw some numbers that didn't quite match that up. So what is the true story about how many of these jobs are auto-related jobs?
Well, let's go through the numbers. We've created over 112,000 jobs just since we took office.
Just in Ohio?
Just in Ohio since we took office. Of that 112,000, 400 of those jobs could be associated with the auto bailout.
400?
Yes.
Out of 112,000?
Yes. And if you look at where we're growing, we have a diverse economy, and we're focusing on making Ohio a diverse economy. IT, technical, food production, food manufacturing, medical. We're growing in many different industry segments, and I think that's what's partly contributed to Ohio's success.
Well, it is a fascinating story, and I think you and Governor Kasich deserve a lot of credit for it. So I'm going to give it to you, whether the president does or not, because I can do that. We're expecting Governor Romney to be speaking very soon out in Englewood, Colorado. We're going to carry that speech live. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back with Governor Mitt Romney live from Colorado, right here on Huckabee. Stay with us. Let's go straight to Englewood, Colorado. This is Governor Mitt Romney live.
I'd like to introduce someone to you. I'd like to introduce someone to you, the next First Lady of the United States, Ann Romney.
That is the most extraordinary welcome. Thank you, Colorado. We're getting closer and closer. This is getting very exciting. This is what... 3 more days, 3 more days, 3 more days, 3 more days, 3 more days. It is. It's only 3 more days. This is so exciting for us. It's a thrill to be here. What a great country this is, and what an honor it has been to go across this nation and to meet people like you that are here standing up today for America.
You got her, you got her, you got her.
We have had such a thrill to be able to go across this country, and now that journey is coming to a close, but a new journey is about to begin. And what a thrill it's going to be for me, because I know something about Mitt. He does not fail. In our marriage, he has stood by me in my darkest hour. As you know, I have had some difficulties in my life. And where has Mitt been? Standing by my side. As a father, I have seen him show exemplary courage and devotion to his family and to his sons. He has raised the most extraordinary sons. I have seen him in business be everything, just the most exceptional business leader, and turn things around. And now what I'm excited about is the next turnaround in his chapter of his career. And it's going to start next Tuesday with your help. Thank you very much.
Tonight we're entering the final weekend of the campaign, and you are right. At the Obama rallies, they're shouting 4 more years, and we're shouting 3 more days. And we are so very grateful to you and to people across the country for all that you've given of yourselves to this campaign. This is not just about Paul Ryan and me. It's about America. And it's about the future that we're going to leave our children. We thank you, and we ask you to stay at it until we win on Tuesday night. Now, the closing hours of a campaign have a dynamic all their own, as you can imagine, and many voters have already made up their mind as to who they're going to vote for. Others are, yeah, I figure you guys are, yeah, you know what you're going to do. But there are a lot of others that are just putting aside the demands of daily living, and they're considering who they're going to vote for and how that vote will affect their life and the lives of their children and the course of the country that we all love. And so we ask them to look beyond the speeches and the attacks and the ads. Look to the record, the accomplishments, the failures, and the judgment, because words are cheap and a record is real and it's earned with effort. You see, change can't be measured in speeches, it is measured in achievements. And 4 years ago, candidate Obama promised to do so very much, but he has fallen so very short. I mean, you recall, he promised to be a post-partisan president, but he's been most partisan, dividing, attacking, blaming. He was going to focus on creating jobs. Instead, he focused on creating Obamacare that killed jobs. He said he was going to cut the federal deficit in half, but then he doubled it. And then he said he'd bring the unemployment rate down to 5.2% by now. And we just learned on Friday it's 7.9%. It is 9 million jobs short of what he promised. And unemployment today is higher than when Barack Obama took office. And by the way, he also promised that he would propose a plan by now to save Social Security and Medicare. He did not. Rather, he raided $716 billion from Medicare to pay for his vaunted Obamacare. Now, he also, the list goes on. He also said he would lower health premiums by some $2,000 a family. But instead, they've gone up by $3,000 a family. And you know, the average American family also pays $2,000 a year more for gasoline than when President Obama was elected. And I'll mention one more thing. He said he would work across the aisle on the most important issues. I thought this was interesting. He has not met on the economy or on the budget or on jobs with either the Republican leader of the House or the Senate since July. And so instead of bridging the divide, he's made the divide wider. Now, people wonder, how is it that he's fallen so short of what he promised? I think it's in part because he's never led, he's never worked across the aisle, he's never truly understood how jobs are created in this economy. And by the way, and today he's making new promises he will not be able to keep because he admits he's planning on staying on the same path. The same course we've been on will not lead to a better destination. The same path we're on means $20 trillion in debt at the end of a second term that he won't have. It means crippling unemployment. It means stagnant take-home pay, depressed home values, a devastated military. And by the way, unless we change course, we may be looking at another recession. So the question of this election comes down to this. Do you want more of the same, or do you want real change? President Obama promised change, but he could not deliver change. Now, I promised change, and I have a record of achieving real change. I built a business. I helped turn around another. I helped put an Olympics back on track. And with a Democrat legislature, I helped turn my state from deficit to surplus, and from job losses to job growth, and from higher taxes to higher take-home pay. This is why I'm running for president. I know how to change the course of the nation. I know how to get to a balanced budget, to build jobs, and to get rising take-home pay. You see, accomplishing change is not just something I talk about. It's something I have done. And it's what I will do when I'm president of the United States with your help. Now, if you believe we can do better, if you believe America should be on a better course, if you're tired of being tired, then I ask you to vote for real change. Paul Ryan and I will bring real change to America from day one. When I'm elected, the economy and American jobs will still be stagnant, of course, but I won't waste any time complaining about my predecessor. And I won't spend my time trying to pass partisan legislation that's unrelated to jobs. From day one, I'm going to go to work to help Americans get back to work. Now, you know as well as I do that people across the country are responding to our 5-part plan to create jobs. You know what they are? Part 1 is about taking full advantage of our energy resources. On day one, I'm going to act to increase the number of leases and permits to drill on federal lands, and I will act to speed the approval of the Keystone Pipeline from Canada. Now, secondly, I'm going to boost trade, particularly with Latin America, and I'll finally designate China as a currency manipulator because it's time that trade works for America. Now, third, I want to send to Congress the Retraining Reform Act to make sure that every worker has the skills they need for a good-paying job. Fourth, I'm going to move to tackle out-of-control spending. I will send Congress the first of several fundamental reforms called the Down Payment on Fiscal Sanity Act. And in this act, we will not just slow down the rate of government and its spending, but I will actually cut spending. You see, I'm not going to just take office on January 20th. I'm going to take responsibility for that office as well. And number five, I'm going to act to boost small business and all business. I'm going to issue executive orders aimed straight at the problems that are holding back this economy. And the first of those is going to grant state waivers from Obamacare to begin its repeal. And the second is going to launch a sweeping review of all the Obama-era regulations, and I'm going to eliminate or repair those that are killing American jobs. And for the first time in 4 years, every entrepreneur, every small business person, every job creator will know that the President of the United States likes them and loves the jobs and higher wages they bring to Americans. We've almost forgotten what a real recovery looks like, what Americans can achieve when we limit government instead of limiting the dreams of our fellow Americans, and that's about to change. Now, the people who will be voting are going to be able to choose the future they want. You know what you need to know. You can stay on the path of the last 4 years, or you can choose real change. You know that if the president is reelected, he'll still be unable to work with the people in Congress. He's ignored them. He's blamed them. He's attacked them. The debt ceiling, of course, is going to come up again, and shutdown and default will be threatened, chilling the economy. The president was right when he said he can't change Washington from the inside. In this case, we can take him at his word. He's going to go on the outside. You see, when I'm elected, I'm going to work with Republicans and Democrats in Congress. I'm going to meet regularly with their leaders. I'm going to endeavor to find good men and women on both sides of the aisle who care more about the country than they do about politics. Now, you also know that if the president were to be reelected, he'd continue his war on coal and oil and natural gas. And all of that would guarantee higher energy prices at the pump and, of course, fewer jobs as well. When I'm elected, we're going to change course on energy. I know how much energy means to middle-class families struggling to get by. We can help hold down prices at the pump and grow new jobs with energy that includes coal, oil, gas, nuclear, and renewables. You know that if the president were to be reelected, he would continue to promote government and demote business. He chose his own jobs council, you know. It was made up of leaders from across the country, business leaders. He wanted their advice on the biggest issue of the time, which was creating jobs and a stronger economy. Do you know how long it's been since he's met with them? 9 months. 9 months. Look, I see free enterprise as a means for people to fulfill their dreams. And by the way, you know, the other day, I was in Richmond, Virginia a couple of days ago, and I met with someone named Rhonda Elliott. She's been running her family restaurant business for a few years. It's called Bill's Barbecue, and it's been in her family for 82 years. At its high point, it employed 200 people. She just closed it down. She told me that the Obama-era regulations and taxes and Obamacare and the Obama economy put her out of business. And she teared up. This wasn't about money. This is about the future for her family and for the family of employees that she cares about. I want to help the hundreds of thousands of dreamers like Rhoda, and I will. Now, you know that if the president were to be reelected, he's going to say every good thing he can about education, but in the final analysis, he's going to do what his largest campaign contributors do and tell him to do, and that's the public sector unions. They're going to insist upon their path, and that means that your kids would have the same schools with the same results. When I'm president, I'm going to be a voice of the children and the parents because they don't have a union. I want to make sure the parents have the information they know or they need to know to find out whether their school is succeeding or failing. And I want to make sure they have the choice they need to pick the school where their child has the best chance for success. Now, one more thing. Under Barack Obama, a re-elected President Barack Obama, our military would experience what the Secretary of Defense called devastating cuts, which would jeopardize our national security as well as kill jobs. When I am president, I will not cut our commitment to national defense. A strong America is the best ally peace has ever known, and I'll keep it strong. Now, I've watched over these last few months as our campaign has gathered the strength of a movement. It's not only the size of the crowds, and this is an extraordinary crowd tonight. It's also the depth of our shared conviction. It's made me strive more to be worthy of your support, to campaign as I would govern, to speak for the aspirations of all Americans. I learned as governor of my state of Massachusetts that the best achievements are shared achievements. I learned that respect and goodwill go a long way and are usually returned in kind. That's how I'll conduct myself as president. I'll bring people together, doing big things for the common good. I won't just represent one party. I will represent one nation. As you know, throughout this campaign, President Obama has tried to convince you that these last 4 years have been a success. He's floating a plan for the next 4 years. He wants to take all the things he did in his first term, the stimulus, the borrowing, Obamacare, and all the rest, and then try them all over again. But look, our big dreams will not be satisfied with a small agenda that's already failed. And yesterday, I imagine you already heard this. Yesterday, President Obama asked his supporters to vote for revenge. For revenge. Instead, I asked the American people to vote for love of country. Together, we have got to lead America to a better place. Now, we're 3 days away from a fresh start. 3 days away from the first day of a new beginning. My conviction is based on an unshakable faith in the American spirit. If there's anyone worried that the last 4 years are the best we can do, if there's anyone who fears that the American dream is fading away, if there's anyone who wonders whether better jobs and better paychecks are things of the past, I have a clear and unequivocal message. With the right leadership, America is about to come roaring back. We are Americans, and we can do anything. The only thing that stands between us and some of the best years we've ever known is lack of leadership. And that's why we have elections. And you saw the differences between President Obama and myself when we were side by side in our debates. He says it has to be this way. I say it can't stay this way. He's offering excuses. I've got a plan. I can't wait to get going. He's hoping we'll settle. But Americans don't settle. We build. We aspire. We listen to that voice inside that says that we can do better. A better job, a better life for our kids, a bigger, better country. It's coming soon. Three more days and we can get to work rebuilding our country and restoring our confidence and renewing our conviction. Confidence that we're on a solid path to steady improvement. Confidence that college graduates 4 years from now will find a better job. Confidence that the single moms who are working 2 jobs will have a shot at a better job as well. Now, my confidence in America and in our future stems from what I've seen in the heart of the American people. We're a people who are given to give ourselves to things larger than ourselves. It's said that a hero is not someone who's larger than life, just larger than himself. Some years ago, I was serving as a Boy Scout leader in the Boy Scouts of America. And I was at a court of honor. That's where the Boy Scouts get the Eagle Scout Award or other awards. And there was a long Formica table at the front of the room, and I was seated at the far end of it next to an American flag. And the person who was speaking at the podium was a scoutmaster we'd flown in to tell his story, a scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado that I just drove through. And he said that his Boy Scout troop wanted to have a very special American flag. So they bought one, and they had it flown above the Capitol building. Then when it came home, the boys said, I'd like to have NASA take it up in the space shuttle. And so they contacted NASA, and NASA agreed. He said, you can imagine the pride of our boys as they were sitting in their rooms at school watching the TV sets as they saw the Space Challenger shuttle launch into the air, and then they saw it explode on the TV screen in front of their eyes. And he said he called NASA a couple of weeks later and said, have you found any remnant of our flag? And they had not. He said he called every week, week after week, month after month. Still no remnant of the flag from that terrible disaster. Then he said he was reading an article in the paper, and it described some of the debris from the Challenger disaster, and it mentioned a flag. So he called NASA again, and they said, in fact, we have a presentation to make to your boys. So NASA came together, and the boys were there, and he said they presented the boys with this plastic container, and they opened it up, and inside was the American flag, their flag, in perfect condition. And he said, then he said, that's it at the end of the table next to Mr. Romney. And I reached over, and I grabbed that flag and held it out. And it was as if electricity was running through my arm. Because I thought about all the men and women in our space program who put themselves in danger's path out of a desire for learning and knowledge for us. This is the American way. Think of all of our servicemen and women who put themselves in harm's way for freedom and for us. I haven't seen that flag in, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, or that scoutmaster, but Monument, Colorado is not that far from here. Would you please welcome that scoutmaster from Monument, Colorado, and that flag? Thank you. Now, did I get that story right?
You did, sir.
Oh, that's great. That is a great flag representing the greatest nation in the history of the earth.
The flag of hope.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's something. I see a troop of scouts right here. Thanks, young man, for your service to the community. See, it's in the American spirit, this idea of giving to others, some in extraordinary and remarkable ways, others in remarkable ways in their own homes. My sister is one of my life heroes. She's in her 70s now. She has 8 children. 7 of them are raised with children of their own. The youngest of her children was born Down syndrome. Jeffrey's now 43, and my sister Lynn lives as a single mom. Her husband passed away a few years ago. And she's devoted her life over 43 years, and particularly over these last several years, to Jeffrey and to making sure he has a full and abundant life. She's a hero to me. Think of all the single moms. I think of all the single moms that are struggling to make sure they have what's necessary to put a good meal on the table at the end of the day. And all the moms and dads who are working 2 jobs or perhaps one working night shift and the other day shift, hardly see each other, but they want to make sure their kids have the kind of clothes other kids have at school so they don't stand out. Think of all the couples at this Christmas time who will say to each other, let's not exchange gifts with one another, let's instead make sure we have enough for our kids to have a great Christmas. This is a nation of people who give of themselves to things bigger than themselves. And so on November 6th, I want us to come together to draw on that greatness. And then on November 7th, we're going to go to work. And by the way, I want you to reach across the street to that neighbor, you know, on the other side of the street that has the yard sign for the other guy. And I want you to know I'm going to reach across the aisle in Washington to people of good faith in the other party. We got to come together and work for the common good of the great nation. This is much more than our moment. It's America's moment of renewal and purpose and optimism. We've journeyed far and wide in this great campaign for America's future. We're almost there. One final push, it's going to get us there. We know a lot of short nights and long days, and now we're close. The door to a brighter future is there. It's open, waiting for us. I need your vote. I need your work. I need your help. Walk with me. Let's walk together. Let's start anew. Thank you so very much, Colorado. You guys are the best. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
All right, that's Governor Mitt Romney out in Englewood, Colorado tonight, having an incredible rally and a strong, strong finish. Joining me now, Ohio Senator and Romney surrogate Rob Portman. Senator, I don't know of anybody other than Ann Romney who has spent more time on the campaign trail with Mitt Romney than you. I mean, you really have been out there. He was at the top of his game here tonight.
He sure was. It's a great message, positive, uplifting, a vision for the future. I think it's exactly the way to close in Colorado and Ohio and around the country. I think people really appreciate that.
And I have noticed that he's not attacking the president. He's not talking so much about what's wrong with Barack Obama. I mean, he brings up the contrast. But like the close with the Boy Scouts and the flag, what are you seeing on the campaign trail? Because, again, you're with him almost every day. So have the moods that you've seen among the crowds changed over the last couple of weeks?
Actually, they have, Governor, and I think they changed partly because of the debate. You know, our side got a lot more energized, and as I've told you earlier, I've been to 5 mini rallies today around Ohio that we've had. I've never seen crowds like this. I've never seen the kind of enthusiasm and energy on our side. Last night we had a rally with Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. 30,000 people showed up.
Wow.
And they were as boisterous as this crowd in Colorado we saw tonight. They're really excited. They're excited about a fresh start and excited about what he's talking about.
You know, I was amazed at his energy level. I was sitting here thinking, and you and I were talking, that I think we're both more tired than he seems to be.
Exactly.
And he's out there campaigning every day.
He's got a passion for it. And as you said, he's got the adrenaline now in these last 2.5 days. But he really has a strong view that America's on the wrong track and that he can turn it around. And he's committed to it. And, you know, he's got a very strong following here in Ohio. I think we're going to win this election because of it.
Ohio is critical to the election. You've traveled all over this state, and you know it as well as anybody. You've been a congressman. You've been a United States senator for Ohio. This is your home state. How do you see this coming down Tuesday?
Well, Ohio's a purple state. We're neither red nor blue. And, you know, Barack Obama won the state last time by almost 5 points. George Bush won it twice. Bill Clinton won it twice. So we go back and forth. But this year, I think the polls are very close. I think we're close to a dead heat. But I think we've got a little advantage. And it's that energy enthusiasm that I talked about earlier that we see on the campaign trail. I believe we've got a really good ground game in place, but ultimately it's about the passion and the heart of the volunteers. I spent a lot of time with them today. I was at 2 call centers where I made calls. So I think we're going to win this. I think it's going to be close, but I think at the end of the day, there'll be a victory in Ohio, and so goes Ohio. More than likely, so goes the country.
It certainly has been that way time and time again. When you talk about that it is tight, but tipping one way or the other, is it an issue? Or is it the emotion of the voters and just the intensity that you think will put Ohio in the Romney column?
Well, it's the top issue in Ohio, which is the top issue around the country, which is jobs and the economy. And the concern here in Ohio is that although we're doing a little better than the national average, as Mary talked about earlier, thanks to the good work that she and John Kasich have done and the Republican legislator, things are still rough here in Ohio.
Yeah.
You know, we're still on the wrong track. We still have a lot more potential that we can achieve. with leadership from Washington. And people understand that. I mean, I was with a bunch of voters today who, aren't Republicans or Democrats, folks who are showing up for the first time ever to make calls and to go to a victory center. And what they're saying is we just can't afford another 4 years like the last 4. And they're looking for some opportunity for themselves, really for their kids. And that's what I see out there. And Mitt Romney has offered, again, a positive plan for the future. The president has offered more of the same. And so these voters in Ohio who are undecided, who are more independent voters, are looking at these two candidates right now, and they see Mitt Romney offering a fresh approach that's going to help get Ohio and the country back on track. And they see Barack Obama offering what's gotten us into this mess in the first place here in the last 4 years.
Senator, so much controversy about what happened in Benghazi. We still don't really know. The story changes almost every day. You're a senator. You have a right to ask for information, but you and your colleagues aren't getting many answers. It hasn't seemed to capture the attention of the news media as far as this election is concerned. But are you troubled that we don't know what happened in Benghazi and we aren't getting clear, concise, and consistent answers from the State Department, from the White House, and other elements of the administration?
No, very troubled. And Governor, you and I have talked a little about this, but a shocking operational breakdown, not to have the security in place after what we've now found were explicit requests for more security. And then during this 7-hour firefight, that terrible night in Benghazi, not to come to the aid of fellow Americans, including an ambassador, the first one assassinated since 1979. We need answers. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, as you know. I sent a letter to Secretary Panetta asking about what the DOD, the Department of Defense, had done. I didn't get an answer back. I sent another one with John McCain more recently. More importantly than the Armed Services Committee and the Congress getting answers, the American people have a right to know. So we'll see what happens. I think just in the last couple of days, I've seen a little more interest among the media in looking at this issue, because it truly is a shocking breakdown on the operational side, but also after the fact, misleading the American people about what happened. And so I think you're going to start to see more interest in this, and I hope we can get to the bottom of it very quickly.
Is there a reason that Governor Romney has not made that a bigger issue in the waning days of the campaign?
Well, he's talked about it some, but I think he's allowed surrogates like you and me to talk about it more. Folks who are on the Armed Services Committee, like Senator McCain, Senator Lindsey Graham, have done a terrific job raising the issue, being sure that they're very explicit about, what the answers are we're looking for. And look, I think the American people know that there's something amiss here. There's something very wrong when you have Americans in harm's way and folks are not responding, coming to their aid despite their pleas. I also think that what happened in Benghazi, unfortunately, is an example of the spread of Islamic extremism around North Africa, the Horn of Africa, the Middle East, which runs contrary to what the president is saying, including on the campaign trail just yesterday. I heard him say that, Al-Qaeda's on the run, they're on the ropes, that we've taken care of this problem in essence. Unfortunately, that's not true. The reality is we still face a lot of dangers around the world, which is why we need a military second to none. And one of the issues that Governor Romney does talk about a lot is the fact that if he's elected, he will not cut the military. If President Obama is reelected, he has said in his own budget he wants to cut the military $500 billion, and then in this sequestration, another $500 billion. So that's one of the big distinctions in this race.
Because you have spent more time with him probably than, again, anyone on the campaign trail other than Ann, was there a moment during the campaign that you saw the switch go on and Mitt Romney become the candidate we're seeing tonight, where all the cylinders are firing?
Well, I think he loved the debates, because the debates were an opportunity for him to frankly go around the attack ads and tell the American people very directly who he is and what he stands for. And that's when he did well. And so I think that was the moment. So it was perhaps a little more confidence on his part because he had that opportunity, but it was mostly, going around the media, going around what people were hearing about who he was, and being able to tell the American people directly. Here in Ohio, as you know, we were being outspent all summer and into the fall, about 3-1 on the campaign ads. And the Obama campaign ads were pretty effective and very negative. And so the image of Governor Romney was not an accurate one. He was able to get around those mischaracterizations, misperceptions about what his policies were, and do it directly. And that's made all the difference.
Senator, it's a delight to have you here. Thank you so much. I know you're worn out, and for you to be here tonight, it means a lot. Thank you so much.
I was with a bunch of your fans earlier today at some of these stops, and I know, they all appreciate what you do with this show and all you're doing around the country for so many candidates.
Thank you. Well, if I have fans, may their tribe increase.